Hello! Welcome back to Pages into the Past. This time we are going to be working on a truly Victorian 1886 asymmetrical drapery add-on. We're going to work on this drapery add-on, and it says that you have to put it over at the same time that you're making the Four-Gore underskirt. So this is pattern TV 382, and this is pattern TV 261. And so what I've done is I've jumped ahead, forgot to video it, but I have cut out the front part of the skirt, the underskirt. I went ahead and cut out the overskirt that attaches to it, the drapery add-on. And so what we're doing now is, per the directions, it says to cut it out, sew your front pieces together, which is these three pieces here. And then it has you pleat, length pleats and side pleats for your overskirt. Now the overskirt is just one piece in the front and one piece in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and start pleating that, and then I'll stitch my pleats just like the directions show. I haven't decided how many ruffles I'm going to do at the bottom of this yet. If it's going to be one row or two. I did lengthen this pattern by 3 inches. It is a finished length that is approximately 40 inches. And I will be adding some kind of a ruffle at the bottom, so I did make it a little shorter because I don't like the fronts to skim the ground, just the top of my shoes. So I will try to remember, bad me, try to remember the pleating and showing you how that overskirt goes together. The basic skirt itself that we're making was, we're doing the one with no puff, so we're not going to do this one. We're going to do this, and because there's no puff, it has you add some kind of a ruffle to the bottom just to extend the length. So we shall see what we end up with. The next part of this skirt assembly is to get the pleats all done. So this pattern happens to give the directions of the pleats. Not all patterns do, but I always like starting at the very top, and all pleats should go upward in order to create an effective flow, especially for draping, because then it helps create this really nice drape if you pull your pleat up and not your pleat down. Sometimes my head will tell me, oh no, you bring your pleat down. And then after I look at it for a while, I'm like, it's just not as fancy. I mean, it kind of works, but when you pull your pleat up, it's like a crumb catcher. And then you know you've done it right if things fall into it. So I started with these pleats here. This is the side drapery, because this will come straight. This is the straight part. This side here is the more pleated side. Makes this shorter so that this becomes more of an A-line skirt. And so this part here is that part there, and that part up here will become this section right here. And then the back gets pleated up on the side as well, but we haven't got to that part yet. So right now we're just pleating up the sides, and then we will tack stitch that in place before we attach it to the front skirt. So here are the side pleats. This is the bottom, and these all fold up. What I did is, as you fold up the extra fabric, is very long back here, and I just pin all the way through all the layers so that you don't get any pieces later that want to swing out, because what we'll do is we'll baste these down. I'm going to press them first, and then we'll baste them down. And then they get attached to the front drape. This drape gets attached to the front of the main skirt. According to the directions, it says to pin the overlay to the underskirt at the side. So this would be your right side. I'm going to pin it with the pleats into here, and then you're going to pin the top waist, and then you're going to tack that down, basting stitch it down to hold it in place. One thing you want to make sure of is that you have wrong side to right side, because this is going to be the top of the skirt and this is the top, not the under piece or the inside, the wrong side. So this is right side, wrong side, right side. So wrong side to right side. I hope I've explained that well. So black, it's really hard to photograph well. So I've added some extra light here, hoping that we can do a little bit of justice here. So the fabric has little details on it. The under fabric is just plain, but this is just pinned on for right now. Sorry about the jets. Living near a naval base. Sound of freedom. So what I did is follow directions, and it said hem the bottom of the underskirt the 1.5 inches, hem the overskirt 1.5 inches. When I went to put them together, I had hemmed the waistband and not the bottom. So make sure you mark your top and your bottom. Fortunately, I had my little notches for my side pieces showing the back. And when they were near the bottom, I was like, wow, that is not what we need to do. So be cautious. Make sure you pin where you need to pin. Double check, because me and my seam ripper, we got to be friends again today. And yeah. So on to the next part. I'm going to work on the back. Now here's the skirt all put together. It went together really, really fast. The waistband, when you attached the waistband, you set all your pleats and gathers into the back, separate layers. And I'm probably going to pin this up some and add some kind of a ruffle to the edge. The directions say to do that first, but I wanted to see how this laid before. I have limited fabric, and I was looking to see how this would drape before I added a bunch of additional items to it. The bottom is definitely going to get a row or two of ruffles. I feel like my dress form is just a little shorter than me. The last dress I made on it, where it was touching the floor, ended up hitting me above my ankles. So I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to remeasure this just to make sure, but I'm going to add at least a row of ruffles on that. And then on the bottom edge of this, I'll probably add a set of ruffles that matches the fabric. This fabric here is embroidered. You can see there's little stars here, and then there's like vine trails The under fabric is solid and plain, so we'll see what direction we go with that. Because I only have about a yard and a half of the black fabric, and I need that for the bodice. Because there's some highlighted parts on the bodice that are going to be in the plain black. You'll see when we get there. But I don't know when I'm gonna do this. I'm working on it. It'll all come together. At some point in time, it all has to come together. Many moons ago, I was in a class at a convention that we call Costume College, and the class, we made a pleating board. And so the instructor provided all the materials, the striped fabric, the interfacing, the backing. I honestly can't tell you what we did to make this, but it's really cool because when you put your fabric in the layers, you can tuck it in like so. You can tuck it in to help create the pleats that are evenly spaced, and then you iron them down. And I know that there's a few people out there that have pleating board instructions and things like that, but I was trying to figure out pleats or ruffles for my skirt, and the ruffles just didn't look right because I have to, each quarter of my trim has got to be about 25 inches because the base of my skirt's 100 inches around. And trying to do that, the ruffles were kind of spread far apart and they didn't really stand out. And so I decided to do pleats. So now I'm going to get my pleating board. I got my pleating board out, got the iron all hot. I have my vinegar water in order to help set this when I'm all ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started here, get my pleats all going, and I will check in once I get it all set. So here's the pleated ruffle. I am attaching it to the overskirt so that it gives a really nice drape.